Okay, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the March 5th, Thursday, 2026 CIPC meeting. Just a reminder, this meeting, we're in person and it is being recorded by DCTV. So today, we continue our department meetings. DPW, with DPW Director Tim Barber will be going off over his presentation for DPW admin, water, sewer, and trash. Tim?
Good morning, Tim Barber, DPW Director. Tonight we're presenting the Dartmouth Department of Public Works FY 2027 Capital Improvement Plan. The Department of Public Works is responsible for management of several divisions, while the DPW, including engineering services and infrastructure, water and sewer, and water pollution control. The administration division coordinates the department's activities, develops and monitors the annual budget, prepares project bid specifications, personnel and payroll for the department employees, administers the SMART program, and processes all applications for SMART abatements and discounts, and complies with all state and federal regulations, rules, and regarding solid waste disposal, landfill closure, water treatment, and wastewater treatment, including all submission of required reports. Is also responsible for seeking federal and state funds to assist with the town's public works projects, develops language, strategic planning, as well as maintenance work, and improvements to the town infrastructure, and develops and implements departmental policies. This is kind of what does Public Works do? You know, we administration, we do policy, budget, manage waste collection, engineering design, inspect roads and utilities, services and infrastructure, transportation network, snow and ice, water distribution system maintenance, sewer collection system maintenance, solid waste and recycling collection, solid waste and recycling transfer facility management, construction division, and a central fleet maintenance division. We have water treatment. We maintain drinking water supply and treatment operations, and water pollution control, and we maintain operations of the wastewater treatment facility. So to begin with our administration budget, our capital, we have three proposals. One is the Hawthorne Street design at $150,000. The two is the Dartmouth Street 50% design for improvements, $150,000, and three is the Preserve sewer pump station upgrades for $400,000. If you go next. This is just a kind of an overview of the Hawthorne Street scope and area. We're looking for additional design fees to move forward with the design. This is the current concept design that we've submitted to Mass DOT. So we're still under the 25% design submittal. We've met with Mass DOT multiple times. We're looking at reconstructing Hawthorne Street from Slocum Road to the New Bedford line, and possibly include a portion of New Bedford to the intersection, so we can have connectivity with sidewalks, or we're looking at additional shared use paths for bicycles and pedestrians. And we'll look at installing drainage improvements, and also intersection improvements at Hawthorne and Slocum Road.
I'm just wondering why the town's paying for these plans.
So basically, with the transportation improvement project with Mass DOT, any town-owned right-of-way, the municipalities will fund the design, and then go as it's taken in and as an approved project on the tip by Mass DOT. They will estimate the funds and fund the construction. So while we can, if we fund, say the prices have increased. So if we fund a project like this, it costs $500,000 to $600,000 for design. The state may take over the construction, which may cost $7 million. So if we designed it in-house, and constructed it in-house, we would have to put up all the construction funds.
Okay,
But
thanks.
if the state sees it as a viable project, they will fund it. But a lot of the design criteria is basically in their court, so we have to comply with their specifications and their regulations. So looking at the intersection control, they have, their ideas where they want us to look at designs for a roundabout or a mini roundabout at that section, where it might only be feasible to have maybe traffic signal control at that intersection. We have a crosswalk there. We don't have crossing guards in town right now, so it's right adjacent to a school. So you're making that a safer crossing area with traffic signals and, is hopefully feasible. If a roundabout's feasible, they'll probably look at like rectangular flashing beacons for crosswalks for the students. So
Okay.
that's what we're looking at to make it a safer and a more usable road, narrow the lanes down, so kind of they call it like a road diet, where it slows cars down because of the wide width of the pavement right now. It's like a racetrack, so people, you don't get that feeling that it's a smaller local road. So narrowing those lanes down will give that look to kind of slow you down a little bit, and especially being in a school zone or multiple school zones.
Okay.
And this is the section that goes into New Bedford. Right now, it just shows a kind of a shared use path and a bike lane, and it kind of comes back into the road where right before New Bedford. But if we can connect into the city of New Bedford, the bike lane or a shared use path wouldn't end there. It would connect to the cities. That goes right across to Buttonwood Park. Second project, Dartmouth Street Improvement Design. So we started this project a while ago, submitted it to the state. It included Dartmouth Street from Holland to Prospect and Middle, and then Prospect from Middle to Elm. There are some issues with the right-of-way of Prospect because it's so narrow to comply with all of the design criteria from Mass DOT. And then we originally looked at a roundabout or a mini roundabout for this location. Mass DOT wasn't happy with the design of the roundabout, specifically because it's a 5-leg intersection, because it's a little awkward. And in the vehicular movements around the roundabout, where tracking would go over the center island for large vehicles, like, possibly fire engines and tractor trailers. So we asked them to remove the Prospect Street scope, and just focus on the reconstruction of Dartmouth Street, which has a wider right-of-way into that intersection. Mass DOT asked us for alternate design, so we looked at bringing in Prospect Street into Dartmouth Street at a 90-degree. If you want to move that to the next slide. So these are kind of the concept designs where the top one is the roundabout, the mini roundabout, and then the bottom one is bringing Prospect Street into 90-degree into Dartmouth Street. That would require land taking, and to me, it's still. I still have concern because pulling out of that intersection directly going to the intersection of Dartmouth and Middle, I have a traffic concern there. If you're hauling a trailer or something, it might, you might get caught up there if there's traffic at that intersection. So,
Tim, for the roundabouts, can they reduce so those are plantings in the middle?
that's not a planting. That was just a hardscape.
Okay, so do they have a specific, circumference that they use for like?
Yes.
Oh,
Yep.
okay, it's
They
all
do.
stan-
They have a standard. They're different sizes, so you can have large ones like you see down the Cape, and then they have regular size roundabouts, and they have mini roundabouts, which this is more of a mini roundabout, which fits more within the right of way, so there's less takings, but you have more vehicles that would track over that island if trying to make that maneuver around it.
So you're requesting now just to go right down to the intersection at the bottom of Dartmouth Street, so you don't touch that intersection, basically? Because if it's not broke, why fix it? And how many accidents have there been? I mean,
Right.
I can remember one person driving straight down, right through the parking lot because it was a medical type thing.
Right.
I don't see that many accidents there, and I really don't see it backed up.
I think like the cul-de-sac was more like a gateway to the village, kind of, you know, visual. And I think typically you try to keep your intersections at a 90-degree angle, so they bring in Prospect Street into as a 90-degree. You know, while it works for just that one street, I don't think it works for the whole intersection. So we might go back to another alternative. We're bringing Prospect kind of where it is, maybe a little tweak to the entire intersection to make it safer. And this is the rest of Dartmouth Street all the way to Holland through Meadow. So improvements with, you know, new granite curbing, all sidewalk improvements, as we have in the former phases. And lastly, we have the Preserve 40B sewer pump station upgrades for $400,000. So on the left, you see the Preserve subdivision, the 40B, 288 units, to be able to provide capacity in our infrastructure itself. 2 pump stations had to be upgraded. We have designed those 2 stations at 100%. On the right, you see the 2 pump station plans. The advertisement for bid had gone out, and the price came quite a bit higher than our estimate. So we rebid the project, and as a base bid for the Ellswick station, and then an alternate bid for the Route 6 station. The Ellswick station is the most critical for capacity. So the bids came in still higher than our estimate, so we're trying to move forward with that one pump station, the Ellswick station, to get that one underway and get that one built with capacity, and then we'll try to re-advertise the second one.
Does that change what the 40B portion paying to the town? Because I know you had, what, 250,000 that they were going to contribute?
Yeah, in phases,
Yeah, but since that's higher, does that actually increase their percentage at all, or is that an agreement that's already been struck and then we're stuck with the rest?
Exactly. So that was a negotiation that was done between the zoning board of appeals and the developer, and it's in the comprehensive permit that's all they have to pay. So regardless of increases in costs, it doesn't matter. It's the same with any of our fees. So any of our connection fees that were updated after they have applied for their permit, we can't charge them, so they go back to the fees that were, you know, in place prior to their application. Not their approval, their application. FY '27 engineering capital improvement. This year, for FY '27, we don't have any capital requests for engineering. You know, a lot of our kind of engineering projects go through admin. So typically, we have vehicles or equipment. So next year, we'll be looking at an additional vehicle to replace one of our existing older vehicles, but this year, we don't really have any. And that's one of our newer vehicles.
Are those 4x4? Or they don't need to be 4x4,
They are
because they're
not,
only.
no. It would be nice. I mean, some of our sites that we go on, you need four-wheel drive, especially at this time of year. We have had to be pulled out of sites in the past, so it's just a more expensive vehicle. FY '27 Department of Services and Infrastructure Highway. So we have a number of capital projects, starting with road maintenance for $1,250,000. Freightliner, 26,000 GVW plow truck. 34 for 196,000. 34,400 GVW truck with plow and sander for 270,000. A Cat 420 XE backhoe loader for 155,500. A Ford F550 4x4 dump truck and plow for 135,000. Let's see. And we have maintenance, improvements to Bridge Street and Middle Street for $900,000, and Flag Swamp Road stormwater construction for $700,000, and then I added an additional piece of equipment there. It's especially this year with all the snow we've received. We've used in the past to clear like sidewalks along the Payne Narren Bridge. We typically use the school department equipment because we don't have a sidewalk equipment. We have small hand-powered snow blowers, so we're looking at the same type of equipment that the school department has. It's a John Deere sidewalk with a sidewalk piece of equipment with a snow blower. It comes with a mower too, but also with a snow blower, so it's about $60,000. So this is our typical road maintenance. We do, milling, patching, crack sealing, full reconstruction with sidewalks, curbing, paint striping, microsurfacing, sidewalk repairs, landscaping shoulders, cold in place, recycling. Okay. This is our 2025 road maintenance. So in 2025, we spent just over $4 million in road maintenance, and it was broken up funding-wise by the town, Eversource. So any work that Eversource has done on gas line improvements throughout the town, they pay cost sharing. So in their cost sharing, they pay $1.7 million towards the work that we did in 2025. Chapter 90, I think we used $1.2 million. Out of articles from capital, we used $743,000, and out of there's a fair share plan that the state puts out, kind of additional supplement money, rather other than Chapter 90. It follows the same Chapter 90 specifications, and that was about $224,000. So on the right, we have all the roads that we milled and paved, and that's just one type of resurfacing or maintenance. So we completed 6.65 miles of milling and paving last year out of our 205 miles of road. So it's a small percentage, but we did get a lot of work done.
Tim, that would be a good thing to put on a big poster right at the beginning of the town meeting on the wall.
Right? Yeah, we can do that.
Completed
Absolutely.
in 2025.
Yeah. You can go to the next one. So on the left here, we have our micro sealing. So we completed 2.36 miles of micro sealing. So it's a surface treatment. So prior to micro sealing, we crack seal these areas with a thin band of crack sealing.
Yes.
Most roads, when we just crack sealing, it's a heavier band. But when we do the micro sealing, we try to get a thin band. They just kind of scratch the pavement and fill the cracks so we can surface it. We did a lot of the roads in the Marymount subdivision. And I think this works well. We've done it in other roads. We've done Old Westport Road, Chase Road. Some roads, with a lot of traffic, it doesn't last as long. So I think it'll do pretty well in subdivisions with less vehicle traffic.
Smith Neck Road, was that?
We did Smith Neck Road. See, when we did Smith Neck Road, the base was a cold in place reconstruction. So we came down, we milled the entire surface and base course of asphalt and put it back down in one convoy. So it mixes with Portland cement and asphalt, liquid asphalt, and it puts it down in a base course. And we overlaid Smith Neck Road with a micro seal, and it didn't really adhere greatly. So there was some delamination. So what we did in future projects after that, after a cold in place, we overlaid it with 1.5 inches of hot mix asphalt rather than the micro seal, and it seems to work a lot better. So using existing roads would you crack seal them and then micro seal them. That seems to be the way to go on that surface treatment. So we'll continue to use that as well. On the right here, this is the amount of roads we crack sealed. So we did another 9.19 miles of crack sealing throughout town. as a maintenance to keep the water from entering the cracks and, infiltrating, and then especially in these times when you have a lot of freeze and thaw getting in there and it blows the asphalt away, and as it freezes and expands and then thaws and contracts and the plows hit it and you see, potholes will open up everywhere. I expect to see a lot of potholes and damage around town due to this year's harsh winter with the freeze and thaw and the amount of time our plows have been on the ground, so. And also just regarding that, I think in the past, we've had kind of a bank of our road maintenance articles. So I think we're down to about just under 1.4 million in current articles left over. So we've been expending them for different projects, so we expect to keep on doing that. So if we expect another, $4 million road maintenance program this year, that'll probably be dwindled down to not much, along with our design projects as well. And a lot of that goes to patching and all of the maintenance. Here we have a 26,000 GVW Freightliner M2 106 for 196,000. So that truck this is the truck that doesn't require a CDL license to drive.
I was just gonna ask that.
So it can take a large plow, not the really large plow that the 34,000 trucks can handle, but it takes a large plow and it's got a good dump body on it. So we have a couple of them and they seem to work pretty well. And anybody can drive it. This is on the right. We have the 34,000 GVW plow with sander. So you can see that's a lot larger truck. That one requires a CDL and it has a larger plow on it. But
Is that the minimum gross value weight that you can have that
no,
requires?
that's max.
Oh, that's the max.
Gross.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's gross, and that's what they're registered for. Yeah. Yeah. So, and then on the left, that would be replacing that 1994 Kodiak. Here we have a backhoe loader. We're looking at a new loader for $155,500. This is the existing Cat backhoe loader. You have a Ford F-550 dump truck with plow for $135,000. On the right is a similar vehicle. On the left would be the 1999 Ford that we are planning to replace. Here we have our Bridge Street and Middle Street improvements for $900,000. It's 1,978 feet of road reconstruction, sidewalk and curb reconstruction. Good. So we've designed this plan in-house. It's 100% design, and we estimated at $900,000. I've also submitted to Complete Streets to see if we can get some Complete Street funding for this as well. They have increased the Complete Streets funding limits, so hopefully we can get some funding for this and move it forward.
Does that include the lighting and everything? Oh, no, Tim, just the base and
The what?
That doesn't include any lighting or anything like that?
No lighting, nope. No, this is just for the roadway improvements. And if we add some lighting, that would be above.
Addition, yeah. All right.
This is Flag Swamp Road.
Delete. Sorry, Greg.
It's almost,
This is our annual request for funding on Flag Swamp Road.
There's more Greg one years, yeah.
So 4,830 linear feet of reconstruction, about 700,000 includes drainage improvements. It is pretty tight. You can see this picture on the right. It's tight with a banked wooded edge on the left, and then the guardrail on the right where the cranberry bogs are. I know the bogs are no longer functioning, and they've been that property has been purchased by DNRT. So we're looking to maybe work with DNRT to see what we can do along that edge to maybe widen the road another foot or two to make it a little safer, and additionally add some drainage improvements. Good. So these are the design plans. Also, these were designed in-house. So there are some, resource areas, some wetlands that we'd have to deal with conservation, and so we'd look at some treatment options as well as wherever we discharge the drainage. There we have it. And here's the John Deere snow machine we'd be looking for with the snow blower for sidewalk clearing. Help us keep up with the sidewalk along the causeway and the bridge, and any extension that we do along that area, and any other areas that we maintain. Here are some of our completed capital projects. You may have noticed on Crossroad, Highway Department installed an 18-inch perforated drain subsurface to take a lot of the drainage that was ponding around the corner near the electrical substation. So these are some of the pictures from that installation. And these are I don't have the paved pictures, but these are when we milled that section of Crossroad, put some signage up, and milled it, and then after that prep was completed, we paved the road. We had a lot of feedback from completing that project.
Yeah, good.
So this is the project that's just kind of northeast of our project that's on the Mass DOT tip plan. So that'll kind of blend in with this project that we completed. And then the reconstruction with additional sidewalk improvements will be the next phase of that project with Mass DOT. So these are just some of the roads around Bliss Corner that we've worked on in the past couple of years and completed.
Now, Tim, when the roads get the crown like that, I know we talked about like Robert Street having the crown, is that taken down to meet,
crown?
like, if there's a crown on the road?
So the crown is to promote drainage, so to keep the rainwater in the gutter, so it's not shedding across the road, especially during like freezing temperatures, where if you have water sitting in the center of the street, you have a lot of icing. So it just keeps the roads cleaner and the drainage.
I think there was like the sidewalk was,
The sidewalk, the sidewalk and curb reveal on Robert Street is very minimal. So we would have to actually take that road down lower than, we wouldn't just do an 1.5-inch mill and overlay there. We would probably go down a full depth or go down to gravel, put down a binder course, a base course, to bring that reveal back up so we don't impact any driveways or properties. And then we would reinstall new curbing and sidewalks.
so that just happens over time because of,
Yeah, so a lot of times we'll go in and we wouldn't even mill and overlay years ago. We would just overlay a road. You'd crack seal it and overlay it, and then you lose your curbing reveal. So it's not the safest way to do it, because then, cars can bump up on the curb without being stopped. With a 6-inch curb, it's more of a stop where, you get down to like a 2.5-inch curb, you're just gonna drive over it. So. And these are some of the completed streets. See, like if you go back one, so some of the areas where you have a lot more houses, or the grade works on one side where we put sidewalk and vertical curbing, and then some areas like on the right where all that land had a steeper pitch, a slope. So installing a sidewalk there, it's a little more expensive because you have to retain behind it, because your sidewalk has to be ADA compliant with at maximum, 2% slope, across slope. So then you have to retain that with either curbing or retaining wall. So we chose to just install a Cape Cod berm, which is more economical, and you don't need a vertical stop when you don't have a sidewalk. So that's why we did that. Here we have sidewalks on both sides of the street with vertical curb, all concrete driveway aprons. Same here. And here we show some of the landscape strips as well, with some existing trees, and then where there weren't existing trees, we we added trees. Here's another 34, this is a brand new 25, 34,400 GVW Freightliner with a sander and plow. And this is the 26,000 GVW M106 dump truck with a plow going out to actually plow. So
So this one, you don't need a CDL for this?
this is the one you don't need a CDL for, yeah. FY '27 solid waste and recycling. So we have a Mack rear loader packer, still diesel powered for 400,000. We still haven't heard on the state's requirement for electrification of these large vehicles, so we're trying to buy those diesel vehicles while we can. And we have a, oh, I'm sorry, I have it right here.
Replace transfer.
So we want to replace the scale house at the transfer station for about 55,000.
It's gorgeous already. Those guys are so comfortable up there.
It is.
The shed,
It's two sheds.
There's two sheds.
yeah.
And the he shed and the she shed. And then we want to replace a couple more of our steel containers, solid waste containers that are getting rotted and not holding water anymore. Yes, if you want to move forward. So this is one of our 2010 Mack with 100,000 miles that we're looking to replace. Replace it in, we wouldn't get rid of this vehicle right away because it might be something that if we go to electrification that we could possibly rebuild that since we still own it. So in the past, we would auction those off, but I think holding on to them for now is kind of a better decision.
So they could electrify that vehicle?
Not that vehicle, but in order, the bill that was going
Proposed,
for,
yeah.
was proposed to require all these large vehicles. Prior to us being able to purchase a diesel vehicle, we had to purchase an electric vehicle. So if it's an electric vehicle, one of these, a rear packer or a recycling truck, the costs are double what the diesel vehicles are. So they're like 900,000 to $1 million, and they don't have the range that the diesel vehicles have. So you need 2 to 1. So if we keep some of the older vehicles, we can spend about the same amount of money rebuilding that diesel vehicle. And since it's already ours, we're not purchasing another vehicle, so we can continue to use that.
Yeah, we did that
Rather
last
than-
year,
yeah.
if you remember.
We talked about it, we talked about the whole thing.
900,000 to buy an electric vehicle, and then I
Rebuild
think
like
we put
half a million or
$500,000 to do that.
A
Yeah, but I
rebuild.
think
So we did,
Pull
we,
back that article, right, so you can buy a new one?
we still have, we have that money still in an article for rebuilding currently.
I thought we had talked about.
We
like,
talked about
or
possibly,
using that to purchase a new one.
yep. And if that's viable, we can use that. Here's the transfer station, the two sheds put together. So we're looking at, making this one building, modernizing it, with, with all electrical and technology. So it's estimated about 55,000. We're also looking at some grants from the state for transfer stations and recycling to see if we can get any grants toward this. So we're working with the district on that as well. And these are a couple of our containers that we're looking to replace. About 36,000 for 2. DSI Construction Division Capital Improvement Plan. So we're looking at a Cat 93 wheeled loader replacement and for $235,000 and a 6,800 GVW 4x4 pickup with a plow. So here's our existing 2014 Cat front end loader, has 6,200 hours on it. $235,000 to replace it. This loader got a lot of use during this past storm.
Like it was up my street during the.
It probably was up a lot of your streets, yeah.
This
With
one's
the
at
snow we had, at some point, our trucks wouldn't even push it anymore, so.
Is this one at the town yard, or are you sharing?
This is at
are
the
you
highway
still-
yard.
Are you still, you're not sharing, because weren't you running one up from
We still do.
solid, from your sewage treatment plant?
We do, yep, yeah.
Where you, Weren't you sharing?
They were running it over today, hauling some compost. So yeah, so that loaded, one loaded stays at the wastewater treatment facility, and it does run back and forth. And, eventually we're looking at depending on what happens with compost in the future, because biosolids, land application for biosolids is getting a lot of regulators looking at it and possibly banning it for land application in Massachusetts, depending on contaminants. So if that happens, we may not be composting it anymore. But if we do continue to compost, possibly our thought was to move that facility and process over to our yard, so we're not running the loader back and forth. So, but currently, there's room up there, and we still use it to our use. So here's a 6800 GVW, just a regular, half-ton pickup, so with a plow and replacing an existing pickup with 99,000 miles on it. And let's see. So water pollution control FY27 capital improvement plan. So first up is our aeration project. So that's a 100% designed project and estimated at about $6 million. So we do have some funding for it. We're looking for another 5.2, which would most likely have to be from borrowing. We did apply for a grant for this funding, and we got denied. We didn't get awarded the grant, so we're looking for some funding to move forward with that project that will increase our treatment and capacity for biochemical oxygen demand and so suspended solids. Next, we have a new brush grinder. So this was kind of a late add. Our brush grinder, so all the residents who come in and bring brush that we chip up, it's not just your normal chipper. We grind it to a finer mulch to be able to mix with our amendment with our biosolids to create that compost. So it is a high dollar machine. We've spent I think like $15,000 in repairs this year, and we just were told we have to replace the conveyor, which is another $40,000 for parts, probably another $10,000 for labor. So, and typically we bring in the mechanics from out of state to do this work. So they usually stick around for a few days to get this work done. So it's pretty expensive. So it's getting to the point where we're putting a lot of money into it. So we're looking at purchasing another one. Or I've talked about, a possibility of leasing one. Well, we've done it in the past, and it's pretty expensive as well. So.
And what's the benefit in terms of money if you invest that money? How does that help us? Other than fixing the machines, do you get a certain amount of money from composting that will offset that?
So that's, right now we do. So right now we create our compost. It's a grade A product. It gets marketed and sold by a vendor, and then we split the profit. That's done in October. Our vendor is no longer going to be operating biosolids composting. So we're looking at other avenues to get rid of it, whether we can continue composting with other vendors, or if we continue composting and haul it, just haul it away rather than a land application vendor.
So either way, you have to compost it, whether you sell it.
That's what
or
we're
not.
looking at. If
Okay.
not, there's another way. It's a dehydrated cake form. They call it cake. So when we dehydrate the biosolids, they can haul it that way. They can also haul it in liquid sludge form, which is a lot more expensive.
Yeah.
I think the city of New Bedford does that. But the other issue is if we don't replace that machine or don't repair it, we take that away from the residents, that option to discard brush at our facility. So, and for us to be able to manage it.
full all the time. Right now, you got a lot there, probably, or we'll be getting a lot the next couple
Will
of
be,
weeks.
yeah.
Because the amount of arborvitae's and things like that went down with these storms.
Yeah, yeah.
And the
yeah.
trees,
Yep.
once everybody can get to it.
Right, but, yeah,
They'll be getting
eventually,
filled up in the next couple of weeks.
I agree. And then we're looking at some skater improvements, so up at the north and south sewer pump stations, which are our two largest stations, so we haven't upgraded the skater equipment in those pump stations in quite a while, so that's a $90,000 estimate. Then we have our inflow and infiltration remediation, requested at $250,000. We're continuing with our II plan. We've been doing evaluations, smoke testing, TVing lines, and looking for mitigation on any of our II and some of our infrastructure to reduce the amount of flow to create more capacity at the facility. And then replacing 2 flow meters and chart recorders for our pump stations, $125,000. So here's our water pollution control facility. And that, all the way to the left, the shorter building, that's our compost building. So that's where we process all the compost, all the brush that gets chipped and goes into that building and gets mixed with the compost. And the longer building, that's where we actually process our biosolids. We have our presses there and our pumps, and we dehydrate all the biosolids there. So that's a building you don't want to hang around in too long. There's a lot of ammonia, and it's not a great environment. It's really humid in there, but yeah, that's our composting process. And then so back there, so on the right top side, you have those 4 square chambers. So those are our aeration tanks currently. So we have 4 aeration tanks, but with our aeration project, we're looking at going down to 3 aeration tanks, and then the lower aeration tank, converting that to a nitrogen removal tank to reduce the amount of nitrogen that's getting discharged. Okay. This is one of our pages from the 100% design aeration plans, just showing the schematic of the facility as well.
Tim, I think it's important to note on this, this is something that would be done regardless as part of a new sewer treatment plant. So for us to do this now is not saying, okay, we're gonna do this now and then have to redo everything in 5 years when we do a new sewer treatment plant. Essentially, this would be like phase 1 of the sewer treatment plant, so.
Yeah.
And would help us now
Yeah,
with
it
law.
would help us
Do
with
you
that.
have a master plan for that? For the sewer treatment?
That's not complete yet.
So with our we put out an RFQ, or request for qualifications, for our comprehensive wastewater management plan. We've evaluated the qualification submittals, and now we're looking at moving forward with having them present to us, so presentations and interviews, and then we'll select the consultant. And that cost is, that's in the $500 to $1 million range, so. So we're working on moving that forward, hopefully within the next couple weeks.
That's about a 2-year process.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, it's-
So, a lot of that planning process goes, looks at, population projections, growth projections, and type of growth, where our former master plan, all the parcels on Route 6 were commercial, right? But all these commercial properties are being developed with multi-residential, which wasn't in our plan, and nothing was designed for that capacity and that much flow from each of those parcels. So it really takes up all the flow for the rest of the town that was allotted for the rest of the residents, so we're re-looking at that and looking at, where the growth might be and how much, looking at all these proposed residential projects, we see a good amount of growth, so. And along with that, you're also looking at, we have our facility, how much capacity even with an upgrade, do we have there and what we can discharge to the bay? Do we have to look at other types of treatment facilities or throughout town? Because, you know, the town is so large, is it feasible to pipe everything to that one facility, or do we have other areas where we have treatment, and where do we discharge? Can we discharge to groundwater? Can we discharge to source other waters, you know? So those are all the questions that will be, you know, recommended on in that plan. So,
Yeah, there was a town that was talking about discharging into the ground.
yeah, yep,
Yes.
yes,
And they're having
absolutely.
a legal battle about
Yeah.
that. But we have so much,
It's done, it requires a real higher level of treatment, you know, for everything, nutrients, contaminants, everything, so. Here we have our, some of our aeration, so on the left bottom, you see our diffusers, that empty tank needs some structural repairs and all new diffusers, so with the upgrade, you know, that would be the first tank to be looked at and upgraded. Up top left, we have a full aeration tank in operation, and then on the right top, we have our aeration pumps.
So Tim, those pumps are running 24/7.
Correct.
Right, yeah.
And those pumps, they're old pumps, so they're not very efficient. We can't really, we don't use VFDs for them, so they're either on or off. So we can't fluctuate their drives, basically. So if flows are lower, we can't turn them down, and when flows are higher, we can't turn them up, so. But with new pumps, they'll all be operated off of VFDs, so they'll operate with the changes in flow. It's a lot more efficient electrically and actually in regulating how much you're aerating. This is our existing 2015 brush grinder that we're looking to replace. Last year, we actually replaced the whole exhaust system. This year, we've done some additional repairs, and then the whole conveyor needs replacing.
It's a relatively low life cycle, huh? 10
It
years.
is, yeah, yep.
What would the trade-in value be on something like that?
It's a good question. Probably not too high.
Okay.
You know. But if you could get 100,000 for it, it'd be, it's something.
Yeah.
So this is our pictures of some of our SCADA, supervisory control and data acquisition improvements to the pump stations for $90,000. Some pictures of crews out working on some of our infiltration remediation, raising the heights of sewer manholes, installing new watertight covers, and then sealing the outside with a butyl sealant. Flow meters and chart readers for our pump stations, looking to replace those as well for $125,000. This is, so this is an older picture of our preliminary treatment, the bar and screen, the grit removal chamber. So this is, basically everything comes into this facility first, and there are large chains and buckets that scoop all the solids up out of there. Sometimes you get anything from false teeth to Matchbox cars, you know.
it's pretty disgusting. I
Right.
witnessed it, I went up there, so.
So we have four of these, and we're upgrading them. They're about $100,000 to upgrade them, but we're doing it in-house, so we're purchasing all the equipment. We've done one. So last year, we got funding for one, so we've gone through one of these, and it's in good shape. Now we're gonna work on the others.
Tim, do we have a process in town where if we find that a resident is putting like sewer, like, washing machine discharge into the system, is there like a fine for that?
No, actually, washing machines are supposed to be discharged to sewer because they have contaminants, but some pumps can't. So we have a program, as we work on, if any of our water division personnel are working on a meter or anything, they'll inspect to see if there are any illicit connections, like a sump pump. And then through our II program, they do the same thing. So they do go house to house, they go in and they inspect the houses to see if there are any illicit connections. And this is basically just comprehensive, on the left is our comprehensive master plan from 2012 that we were looking at upgrading, and just another picture of our facility. FY '27 water and sewer capital plan. So we have filter valve replacement for $150,000 at our 299 Chase Road facility. Let's see, 579 Old Westport Road, water treatment facility construction admin services. So we've funded the admin services to this point. We need about another 100,000 to finish the project. The project is coming to an end. Luckily, we have, most of the work is completed over there. They're testing the piping and trying to get that new CT piping online so we can get the Pinelli wells back up online. Fons Connor Road Pump Station centrifugal pump rebuild for $47,000. Then we move to our next facility upgrade, which is our 687 Chase Road facility upgrades. The design is estimated at $350,000. And then the next one is a Route 6 water main replacement upgrade on Route 6 from Fons Connor Road to just east of Hathaway Road. So this, we're trying to, if we get funding for this, we can do this work in line with the Route 6 work that Mass DOT is proposing, or they're actually moving towards. It's in the tip. They're currently at 75, working towards 100% design. They were planning on bidding that project this spring to start construction in the fall, but it looks like it might be pushed a little further in the year, and maybe start construction next spring of '27. But you know, we're hopeful that we can get some funding to move that project forward. It's at 100% design right now, the water main replacement. So basically, we just have to fund the project, and it's a reduced funding because mobilization is built into the reconstruction project for MassDOT. So basically, it's just a replacement. And we have, what do we have there?
Drinking water source supply.
Was it? Oh,
Drinking.
drinking water source supply. So we've been asked by multiple residents and officials in town to look at other sources of wells. And we've done this in the past. We've gone out and researched sourcing for additional groundwater wells. We've also been asked to look at surface water opportunities or options, as well as interconnections, other interconnections like with Fall River. So we've worked with a consultant on this for years. So we're currently, they're putting a scope together, which is around $100,000. And we're going to look at all the historical data that we have, compile all that data, and try to move forward with other optional sources while answering questions on like whether we can add a surface water source or the interconnection. So that's our.
And that would be a private company, or?
It's a private consultant that we hire to do this, yeah.
I just, you hear about that, and I know sometimes I'll ask a question, and you just say, well, we can't take that water from there because it does this. Where DNRT buys these properties or protects these properties,
Yeah,
when is it that, yeah, you could probably take some water out and really not change the actual environment?
yeah,
Yeah. Wouldn't it be great if they got involved somehow so you can look at those properties to see, okay, yeah, if we take out 100,000 gallons of water, it really won't change all the environment or whatever
right, so.
surrounded. It would still be swampland, or it'd still be this.
Right, so we had completed that acquisition on the Cornell properties with the Buzzards Bay Coalition, and they hold the conservation restriction. But we built into that we're able to install future drinking water wells at that location. So that's part of the.
Without hurting.
Part of the, recorded documents. So, you know, I think if that's included on other parcel acquisitions or conservation restrictions in town as these parcels get protected, I think it's a great avenue for, you know, possible future groundwater wells at least, and, you know, if there is a viable source for surface water.
So wouldn't that be a good starting point then, early, to have DNRT say, well, yep, let's evaluate all our properties that we have? Because obviously they evaluated that and said, yes, we could do that with you and share that. So if they have that right off the bat, that's areas that,
Correct.
you know,
Yeah.
be directing in the right direction right off the bat.
Sure.
They'll look at too where our infrastructure is right now, treatment facilities, because, yeah, I mean, there probably is a lot of opportunity for ground wells, but are we gonna build all new treatment facilities? Or what's the cost of running infrastructure to our current facilities? What's the capacity in those? So, there's a lot
Oh,
that this
there's
needs to
no
look
doubt.
at, yeah.
Yeah, it's like
I mean-
like when we did the Pinelli's wells, it was, you know, it was in a location that wasn't too far from, you know, the Violetta wells in the 579 treatment plant. So that was all, you know, within a I don't know, affordable range,
Right,
I'd say. So
right.
if if you're on Flag Swamp Road and you're gonna, you know, put wells or surface water, you can't pipe that to Old Westport Road. So you're probably gonna have to, you know, build a facility and then pump it into the existing system, which, you know, is quite a ways from Flag Swamp Road.
No, but,
Yeah.
you know,
So,
we're talking about how many million to go tie into Westport
Right?
and
Right.
purchase.
Yes.
So,
No, it's like.
you know,
yeah.
you take all those numbers of what we're gonna be spending just to purchase the water and increase that.
Yeah.
It's,
And the water that we tie in at the top of Flax Swamp Road to that pump station, that's already treated water, that's why you wouldn't be able to tie in over there, is that correct?
You mean the surface water reservoir?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's New Bedford, right?
And is
So
that treated water that,
It is, so
That's what
they,
I'm saying, yeah.
so that comes out of Quiticus, up north near Lakeville, Freetown area, and that gets treated there, pumped
Right.
to that.
That's why
where-
if you
Where that's
put
an
ground
elevated,
wells,
that's an
yeah.
elevated reservoir that goes gravity, and they treat it again.
right, that's what I'm saying, so that's why you couldn't put a groundwater well on Flax Swamp Road and just tie it in over there, because that's untreated water tying into a treated water.
Correct, yeah, yes. And so we could come down to outside of that brick building, the pump station. We could tie in, there's a 24-inch that comes out there. We could tie into that 24-inch, you know, because that's treated. So, well, but we would have to treat it first.
That's what I'm
So
saying.
if
So you have
if we
to
did,
put
if
it-
it's just,
I know,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
you can't just tie raw water in, yes.
Yep.
Yep, yep. And that parcel's a little too small for a treatment
Yeah, you can't
facility.
add anything else.
Unfortunately, the developer over there, the Orchards,
Yeah,
was gonna
the
give the rest of that land to the town, and then they said, well, there's enough room for a house here, so they built
That's
the
what they
house.
did, they built the house, right, right where the apple orchard used to
Yep.
be.
So good? So these are some of our existing filter valves that need maintenance, obviously painting as well, but a lot of them need replacement at our 299 facility. This is the 579 Old Westport Road facility improvements, so there's a basically schematic site plan and then some of the elevation plans of the improvements. And these are pictures of the improvements, you know, when they were working on the addition on the left, forming it, you know, the walls in the middle, and then the full concrete masonry unit block walls that match the existing building, completed there. Okay. This is our clear well, so this is our backwash tank, so to improve quality out of this facility. When we backwash, a lot of times we draw water from the supply, so now it'll just go in and out of this tank, and it won't disturb the lines out on Old Westport Road. That piece of pipe sitting on the ground, that's part of our contact time or four-log pipe that we ran a loop around the facility in the yard to increase that contact time, so we could turn on the Pinelli wells. These are some of the piping, all the light blue piping you see, or whitish piping up to new painting, that's all new. On the left, that's all the piping and pumps that are in the new built addition. on the left, and then the two right photos are in the existing building with our sand filters.
So this is 579?
This is all
Inside.
579 inside. This is all work that has been completed. And so this is at our Fons Corner pump station over near the reservoir, looking at rebuilding the centrifugal pump for $47,000. And this is our 687 facility. So we have our treatment facility and our wells. We're looking to design upgrades for this facility for $350,000. So again, looking at contact time pipe, four-log. The pipe from the wells needs to be increased as well because years ago, the demand wasn't as high, so they used a small diameter pipe. So to get both pump stations operating together, we got to increase the size of the pipe. And then we have another clear well, aeration upgrades here, and the lagoons need to be reconstructed, the backwash lagoons, so whether they get constructed in the same place or we have another area on our site to reconstruct them. So, the picture didn't come up.
Nope.
So that was just our drinking water source supply, engineering, for $100,000. This is our Route 6 12-inch diameter water main replacement. This is all designed in-house. So we designed the full replacement, and the construction is estimated at $1.2 million. Just another replacement of a half-ton pickup truck for the water division, $49,000. And one more Ford F-550 four-wheel drive with a dump truck and plow. We had a lot of trouble, not, I'd say trouble, but, with this snowstorm, we needed a lot of the larger trucks in there, so our smaller trucks couldn't really do much. So just looking for an additional plow truck for the water division.
That's more of a utility truck, right? Tim, on the
Yeah,
right?
it's a utility truck. It's an F-550, so it's a larger Ford, but
Yeah.
it's a dump truck and also with a plow, so we can plow with it. And that's it. Any questions?
Yeah, that's a lot to take in. I did see that a lot of your stuff is like 2s and 3s. You did have some priority 1s further down.
Yeah, so our ones are usually, like, immediate needs are water, wastewater stuff. I know, let's see. How we used to prioritize them kind of like 1 to 10 in a priority of how we want them. So now the priorities are based on, I guess, need,
Yeah.
safety, life safety. I think wastewater treatment and water treatment are a lot of 1s, where everything else kind of 2s and 3s.
Is there any way we can add to that by breaking it down of spring needs, fall, not spring and fall, which ones can get delayed without really affecting too much?
Yep.
Just to give us a little bit of better idea so we can grab some of the, easy pickings to get
No,
out
no,
of
I
the way
like
for a
that.
little bit
Yeah.
and think about it a little bit.
Good idea, yeah.
I
I know a lot of times, even though we request vehicles in the spring, and it's similar to our road maintenance, a lot of times either we don't get any vehicles in the spring, we get them in the fall, or same thing with road maintenance, sometimes they'll break up the road maintenance, we'll get a portion in the spring and a portion in the fall, so that all works.
Right, so if we can try to do that just to help us out a little bit.
Yeah. Some of the other items, like a lot of the ones like the water rate main replacement on Route 6, say, they keep asking for that, do you have the funding? So kind of an immediate need if we're gonna move forward with that.
Well, I agree, it should be done, because I know you
Yeah.
talked about the savings just with the police details and disturbing the road at the same time.
Yeah, and similar, like I said,
The
we,
savings.
like, we have about 1.4 million left in our kitty for road maintenance, so we still have a little, money banked to start the year. It's just,
Right.
eventually, we're gonna need additional funding, you know? Um, you know, it- like the roadway designs, these are continuous designs, so if we don't get funded, we push the design off a little further, so that pushes the construction off.
Right.
Um,
I'm a little concerned about the Hawthorne Street, even though I definitely feel it needs it. But right now, I think we're gonna be having a conversation about, in the near future, about school and the middle school. And, we could design that whole thing and you don't, and all of a sudden, oh, well, we're gonna put the school back there. That's really gonna dictate
How the traffic flows.
how the traffic flows and different, and that's the only reason why I feel uncomfortable
Yeah,
giving you that money right now.
yeah, yep,
Just because of the things that are coming up, It may never happen. I just,
I mean, you're at
Yeah.
75% design, so worst case scenario, like if it,
we're at, Hawthorne Street's still under 25.
oh, all right, because it says 75%.
Oh, so I'm looking for
Yeah,
funding.
to bring it to 75.
All right.
I mean, yeah, there's always time to change it, but I'd hate to see wasted money going after.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say most of the improvements, would be still intact. It's any changes in, like entrances, right? So.
Right.
So if you're gonna have entrances and exits to a new school location, that would change. And that's all stuff that can be constructed,
Yeah, I'm just thinking, because of,
Unfortunately,
say if you
yeah.
take a section of the sidewalk there where you have a
Right.
pull-off lane.
Yeah, yeah.
To go into the high school, or, that would change
Yeah,
quite a bit.
say you
Or a
chose to-
left-hand turn if you end up going that direction. Granted,
Yeah.
there's gonna be a void
Yeah.
if that was the case, but is that the best place to come out?
Right.
Onto Slocum Road.
Yeah, yep. No, you're right. And, you might have to construct new entrances off of Hawthorne if you decide to put the school over there.
You
Yeah,
probably
absolutely.
would anyway, I would think, because I mean, it was always set up that way, actually, where it still is,
Yeah.
but a little bit different.
I think, so the road's in rough shape, and I think we need upgrades on, the pedestrian, facilities, because the sidewalks are a mess. It's also a main route to the hospital,
I'm not denying the
Yeah.
fact,
Yeah.
it's just the
No,
timing,
yeah.
that's all.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
no, I get it.
I
I
totally
think,
agree.
like I said, a majority of the work would be okay. I think it's just, based on the design, there might have to be some changes or
Mm-hmm.
upgrades to that in the future.
Who else is going to see the presentation, Tim, besides us?
Just my board.
Your board? Okay. I was thinking you could add a slide that said 2025 accomplishments, other than the road work,
Yeah,
so people can point to, but you're not showing a town meeting, it
Yeah.
doesn't matter.
yeah, there was one slide that said completed
Yep,
capital, so that's some of the stuff that was completed.
okay,
And then I think some of our vehicle purchases, I put them under the respective department. So if it was a highway truck, I put it on the highway, that was a 25 replacement. So I could do one slide with just completed.
well, I was just thinking, sometimes people say, what are my tax dollars?
Yeah,
Get,
yep,
and that would be a quick thing to say, well, this is what you got in 2025.
absolutely, yeah.
There was one truck you had there, and I'm remiss because I didn't write it down, that you had 66,000 miles on it, I think it was a 99 something,
Yeah.
and you're looking to replace that. Is that a gas or a diesel?
I think it was diesel.
And that's, I've been saying this, I used to say this to the school department, sometimes it's not worth going diesels if the parties aren't gonna last,
Right.
unless you're gonna transfer them, and
It's 27 years
we have
old.
to start
yeah.
looking at that, because, 60-some thousand miles on it, we did not get our savings.
Yeah.
We did not, it was not worth having that diesel pickup, so we really have to reevaluate some of them. to see what happens with those.
Yeah.
Like the Packer, 100,000 miles on a diesel,
Right.
that's nothing. That Packer's good, you know, that, you're right, don't get rid of it,
Yeah,
rebuild it.
yeah, if we can rebuild the body
Right,
and.
because that engine's
engine
still
going,
good
yeah.
for,
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
150,000.
double that life, you know,
Yeah.
as long as the body holds out. And that's our biggest problem with these vehicles we buy now, is the frames just don't last.
Yeah.
The metal's not there.
Right, and to rebuild them, all the materials to rebuild them are so high that you end up spending what you're gonna buy a new truck
Right.
for, you
And
know?
that's-
So then you have to rate that, you know? So you just buy a
Correct.
new vehicle, or, you know,
Correct. And I think you can start seeing that now.
yeah.
that
Yeah.
have-
Especially if they move towards electrification of vehicles, I think you're gonna see that a lot more.
Yeah, so,
Because even, we've applied for grants for electric vehicles, the heavy-duty vehicles, and it, basically, they want to replace an existing diesel vehicle, and they want to see proof that that diesel vehicle and the engine are destroyed. So they don't want you rebuilding that, if they're gonna, give you an electric vehicle to replace it. Yeah, so,
I mean, it presents its own issues too with larger electric vehicles, like if they catch fire, the fire departments need to
Yeah.
be, like, need
Disaster.
to be able to handle that kind of stuff, so. I mean, certainly, I think the electric vehicle makes sense for smaller vehicles until they kind of get the technology to get to the really large ones. And certainly if you have smaller vehicles, it makes sense, but for large vehicles like that, where they're stopping and stopping, it just doesn't.
yeah. Yeah, and then, above that, with storms like we had, if you lose power for a long period of time, our generators
your vehicles are down.
large enough to supply power to charge our electric vehicles if you have a full fleet of electric vehicles, so. Scary.
Okay, thanks, Tim.
All
Nice
right.
job.
Very much, Tim.
Thank you.
Nice job. So next on the agenda, old business. I don't know if we have any old business, but the minutes, we're up to date on the minutes. We have no minutes to approve. And at our next meeting on the 10th, we'll be starting at 9 and doing Harbor Master, Library, DCTV, Parks and Recreation. We're going to be moving to the 17th. So on the 17th, also at the 10th meeting, we have maybe potentially some candidates that we wanted to interview.
Yes.
So,
I won't be here on the tenth, I'll be down in Florida, so. if we
Thanks,
can-
Tim.
And
See you,
so
Tim.
I don't know if we'll have enough to do a quorum, so if I have to, I can zoom in.
okay, we can set it up with a Zoom.
Yeah.
We'll talk to DCTV. And then on the 17th, we'll have Parks and Rec, and then go over the master schedule of all the departments. And then at that meeting on the 17th, if the committee wanted to start making some recommendations, we could do that at that meeting.
I think that was the plan, right?
Yeah.
To do recognition.
Yep. And then that probably would wrap it up for this session, for this fiscal year. But obviously, we've had a lot of information today, a lot of information come before us, so. The meeting on the 10th, it will be half-hour interval, so we'll start at 9 for the Harbor Master, 9:30 for the library, and then wrap it up with DCTV. And then we can do the interviews. If any candidates for the committee.
Are we gonna, like, form questions, or is it just gonna be informal questioning that we're doing?
It's more informal, you guys get to know them, see if they'll be a good fit, what their background is.
Yeah. I think that was more like if we had just a couple of questions to see what their background is, or if they.
Yeah, we
they're
can
gonna
come up
or unless they're just gonna come up with their own statement, like, introduce themselves,
Yeah, that, and we can provide you with 2 or 3 questions.
Okay.
And then if you have others, you can ask them.
That makes
So we'll leave time at that meeting for that. Anything else?
What time on the 17th, please?
It's 9, right?
Time on, set 9 o'clock,
All
yes.
at 9?
Yeah, I have that.
Because of,
You sent that to.
I sent that one.
Calendar,
out,
but-
Terry.
Thank you.
He's already at it.
I just have to edit some of the folks.
I had added the 10th because we didn't have, I don't think you probably didn't send that, Chris, because you're not going to be here, so.
I didn't do it, but I can send it out if you want.
No, I got it. I just had a question about the time. We start at 8 sometimes, but then you have to open the back door for us.
Yeah, and then it's also, it's difficult for Luke to get here
I
too.
got it.
I can.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can do that.
So the meeting for the 10th's already been posted?
Yeah,
I like to have it in my
Yeah, if
calendar.
it's not in my calendar, it doesn't exist, right? So you
Oh,
can-
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So,
Already got them on, right?
No, the 10th
Unless
got
nothing
moved,
changes
so I
as
didn't,
usual.
so I didn't,
I'll create it.
and Terry's got a new email address, so if you want to get her new email
I
address.
will, let's see.
Anything else from the committee?
No,
What do you guys think about the Dartmouth Street project?
that's been one that we've seen now for like the last year, almost 2 years.
I just don't know if it's, I drive over there all the time. There's never any traffic
Over,
at the intersection.
Prospect Street.
oh, at the intersection, that's why I said, I don't think it's
It's not
worth
warranted. I
breaking,
mean,
you know, it's not broken, really.
I know it's weird because there's 5 intersections, but there's no traffic over there
Yeah,
ever.
and one of them, you'll have to take some land, right, by eminent
Yeah.
domain to
Yeah.
be able to do that kind of stuff.
I just don't think it makes sense.
I think if they just put the crosswalks and, you know, like a, you know, colored crosswalk, around that intersection, because once they do, if they do Middle Street
What
and
caused
put
all this? Did
sidewalks
somebody
over
get
there
hit or
and
something
Dartmouth
over
gets
there?
the sidewalks, that takes
Does that
that,
look?
What caused all this? Did somebody get hit over there? Like, what
This is if
caused?
they're looking for funding from the state wants to put in their.
this
2
was
cents.
brought up
It's not
about,
money.
I would say this was brought up about 10 years ago,
Yeah.
when they first started the whole.
Yeah, it's been a while.
It's been a long time,
I've seen it.
Yeah.
you know? So, yeah.
I don't know.
Like you said, if it's not broke, don't.
Yeah, okay, keep the state out of it and you'll be all set.
Well, if they want their money to do the work, so they're gonna impose like, you know,
I
They're
know,
gonna do what they want.
it's our money, sorry, it's not a joke.
so,
I'm gonna make a motion to adjourn.
I motion that we adjourn.
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.